Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to another wonderful day over here with the SBDC. For those that have not joined us before, let me tell you a little bit about ourselves. My name is Sadie Uribe, and I am the media producer for the SBDC, a national program with over 1,000 locations across the country, helping to stimulate economic growth through business advising and development. We offer no-cost services to the local businesses through funding provided by the U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA, and from the California Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, DOBIZ. The Los Angeles Regional Small Business Development Center network serves small businesses throughout Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. We offer no-cost business advising, meaning that you can meet one-on-one via phone or Zoom to address your specific needs and challenges. And we also offer virtual trainings, such as this great workshop to help and adapt and grow your business. So on that note, Lori, hello again.
Hello, Sadie, and welcome so much to the show. This is what your second week filling in, or I shouldn't say filling in. I see I'm so used to saying that because you used to fill in, being the person, my partner in crime. And
I'm your
guys,
Ed McMahon.
yes, oh, you know what? You got to be old enough to know Ed McMahon, don't you? He never knocked on my door either. I kept waiting. But as everybody knows, I'm waiting for Oprah to contact me. So if anybody has any contact with Oprah, I just believe I got stardom in my life at some point in time. And just because I'm getting old and it hasn't happened doesn't mean it can't. You guys all know, wasn't it? Colonel Sanders was like 70 years old or something like that. You know that story we always tell. So I think there's some potential in that. So, everybody, welcome so much. Let me get started with today's show, which is going to be an exciting show. So, here's my upcoming classes, got a whole bunch of them. Sadie is putting the links in the chat right now. You can check them out. I know I always am piping up this financial literacy series, guys, but I'm teaching people to create their own model, to understand what's happening financially within their company. And I really say, if you haven't jumped in it, at least jump in 2 and 3 and learn about it. I'm bringing back probably on a monthly basis for a while the legal structure for your company and tax advantages, because a lot of people are wanting that. I was doing it like every 3-4 months and I realized, you know what, I'm getting a lot of signups. But I am going to talk about charging customer sales tax. I won't be doing that on a monthly, probably on a quarterly. But, a lot of people still have this belief that if you are selling outside of California, you don't have to charge sales tax. And that whole game changed with what's called economic nexus. So if you're questioning whether you need to charge sales tax, you're believing Shopify is doing it all for you, any of that, jump in on that webinar and get some clarity on it. Okay, guys? Coming up shows next week, we got Kay coming back on from STEMs, those frequent flyers that are here with me every week. Hello, glad to have you back. You remember Kay was on and we didn't get to complete the discussion, so we're going to pick up where we left off. I was really interested. She was talking about these ghost kitchens and also these virtual type ways of creating different kitchens to sell your product. And I want to pick up on that because I think there's some real gems we can learn. And then the end of the month, Ariel's coming on. I keep telling her I'm so excited to have her come on the show. She is piped and ready for this. She has her own footwear online sales company. And I'm not going to give out any numbers, all right? But oh my God, this girl, in the matter of, I think it's like 3 years, because I've looked at her numbers, she has made an astronomical amount of sales. I was shocked that she started from zero and did her online and sold this much footwear. Now, of course, along that, she's learning things about, well, I should have understood this. I should have understood this. This happened. So she's got so much wisdom to share. But she's going to be a firecracker going out. I can just tell because she really does know what she's doing and she's quite impressive. So you're going to love hearing from her. Okay, guys, I always have my words of wisdom. So I'm not sure exactly where I'm going with this, okay? But I'm going someplace that I feel very passionate about, and I'm hoping the words I'm using to communicate, you'll see what I'm trying to express. So first of all, I'm starting a little bit of a series on this. I'm going to begin this week and take it through a couple weeks because it's more involved than I can say in one. And I don't like my little commentary to be a whole teaching. But I'm going to tell you this week, what I'm trying to do and why I'm doing it. I'm always saying to you guys, I keep getting people contacting me and saying things, well, I want to open an LLC because there's tax advantages. I'm like, no, an LLC is taxed like a sole prop. And I can go on and on with all these things that are not true that entrepreneurs believe, and they Google and they read it and it seems like it's true and they go forth with it, and it harms them because it was not true to begin with. So they set up an LLC when they really didn't need to. I'm using that just an example because you can relate to what I'm saying. But I see a lot of times that entrepreneurs believe things. Well, I believe I'm profitable. I believe that eventually I'll sell enough and I'll be profitable. I mean, I can go on, and we're going to touch on a few of these as we go week by week. So as I hear this, and I'm telling people a lot of times during the week, I'm saying, no, that's not true. No, that's not true. No, that's not true. And unfortunately, the truth is, a lot of times they believed it to be true and they got to a point where they're in a financial rut now. And some of the calls end up in tears, which is really, heartening for me, because if they understood it wasn't true to begin with, they wouldn't have made this series of decisions. So I thought a lot about it, and I thought, here, let's talk about a thought about thoughts. How do we know if something's true or not? As entrepreneurs, we have to be detectives. We have to be Sherlock Holmes. We really can't rely on what we read online. We can't even always rely on the experts. Sometimes people that were accountants gave them bad information, lawyers gave them bad information, bookkeepers gave them bad information. I just went through that today where I was telling somebody, you're using the wrong tools, you're answering the wrong questions. That's why you're not understanding all this, right? So what I'm saying to you guys is that, right or wrong, good or bad, we're not making any statements on that. We're in a time where we have to take our power back. We have to be our own judge, our own decider on what is the right decisions for our company. But we have to do that based on fact, and we have to do that by going out to the marketplace, to the community, to friends, family, experts, everybody, and get advice. So we have to have a method to figure out whether that information is accurate, whether that information is appropriate, how do we use that information. And in that, what I realized is that's what I've done for a living for my entire life. I mean, and I consult on tax, finance, and legal structures. These are three things that there's a lot of information out there. And a lot of times, especially for tax, there's only the one truth. At the end of the day, the IRS is going to tell you yes or no, right? So I have a series that I go through that I wasn't even fully conscious, and I've been spending time thinking of, how do I decipher what the truth is when I'm doing the research to make sure what I say to the client is true, because I have to check on things myself, guys. So what we're going to start talking about is the power of questions. What do I know to be true, and how do I know it is true? And so what I'm going to do is give you little tidbits of things that you can write down. And so today is just, what do I know to be true? And Sadie, if you can put that in the chat, what do I know to be true, and how do I know it is true? Okay, just asking those two questions. I've had a couple meetings this week that if somebody said, what do I know to be true, and how do I know that to be true, they would not have been able to answer the second, and it would have given them some clues that what they believed that was causing their company to succeed was actually causing it to fail. So that's the foundation. We're going to pick it up in a couple weeks. I'm making frequent flyers out of new visitors, and I know my frequent flyers are going to be there to hear. So hopefully it's making sense what I said so far. My goal is bring the power back to you, let you know how to make decisions within your company, let you know how to go out and get information, weed through all of the things that aren't correct or don't apply to you, and only pull back in those nuggets that will help you to succeed. And succeed to me is to have a company that's financially sound, can buy a quart of milk, as I always tell you, but also be able to give you the lifestyle you desire and give you the emotional, the financial, the physical, all those supports to make us a complete whole person in our company and in our life. To be continued. For now, I'm going to tell you about our guest coming up to speak, which I'm very excited about. So Tracey Aivaz started Smunchys in 2020. Smunchys is proud to be a certified woman-owned accessories brand. The company has grown to sell products in over 20 countries. That's pretty impressive. And has been featured in media such as Good Morning America, Today Show, and BuzzFeed. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what the accessories are. I'm going to let Tracey do that for us. So Tracey, welcome to the show.
Hi, Lori. How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me.
I am doing great. Okay, so I know there's a huge story there. And I was talking to Tracey before we started. And guys, you know, a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, I know Lori. I've known Lori for that long. I had just one conversation with Tracey, not even about this company. So I have no idea completely what this company does. But what happened is I was looking at her information and I looked at the company and I went, oh, there is a story here. I just know there is. And so I said, Tracey, will you be on my show? She didn't even know what that meant, but she's like, okay, and here you are. So that's the backup story. So Tracey, let's start out with, what are the accessories? What are the products you're selling?
I would love to tell you. So I have a women's hair accessory brand. It's mostly e-commerce, and what we do is we sell scrunchies, headbands, and Apple Watch bands, actually, that all come with a zipper pocket in them. So they essentially double up as a mini purse. And I actually have one with me right now. I was just wearing it on my wrist. So, you know, it looks like a scrunchie. It acts like a scrunchie, but if you can see,
Right.
it has a zipper on it. So when you open it up, it has a zipper, it has a pocket inside, and it goes all around the scrunchie to maximize space. And you can use it as a mini purse when you're, let's say, on a hike, a jog, or going out, you know, any sort of activity where you don't want to lug around a purse or a bag with you. It comes in handy.
That is pretty cool. And you know, I'm always looking for ways to carry things without carrying them. You know what I mean? I don't want to be
Exactly.
inconvenienced. You know, I'm old enough. I remember the old days when, especially the older women that had a purse that was like the size of a house, right? And you wonder, like, how are they carrying this and what do they have in it anyway? You know, those days are done. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so now let's back up and fill in the story. Where did the inspiration come to create this? Because have not seen anything like that before. So whether it exists and I'm just not knowledgeable, or you are like a first of thinking that, I don't know, but tell me, where did that idea come from?
For sure. By the way, before I say that, I know my internet is a little weak, so if my audio is lagging, just please let me know. I'll repeat myself. Just want to.
Nope, you're good. You know what I have to do is I have to remember every time I do this, I get that thing with the video doing that. Like it's a Macintosh thing. Like if I go like this, I can't get it to stop. I get balloons, right?
Oh, you did. You
Yes,
got
and you
balloons.
know what? I have tried to get the gestures off. I tried to do everything, and it's a Mac thing, right? And this is the problem because I'm always going, you've got two choices, and one's usually file bankruptcy in my conversations. And I said, well, you got two choices. And I say, well, you could file bankruptcy. And these balloons came up, and I was like,
Oh my God, that's so funny.
oh yeah, I have just given up. You know, even the audience has said, turn this off, and somebody finally said it's a built-in Mac thing. And there's also a thing where if I can remember, I'll have to, if I figure it out during the time, you can make it rain. I think you go down like this and it rains or something like that. Yeah, see, it's raining.
Oh, you did get it.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
You
enough
know
of
what? I
that.
don't want to
Okay,
digress too much, but that was so funny.
go back to the scrunchies. How did you come up with the idea? See, we're already having fun, right?
Yeah, it was fun. So how did I come up with the idea? So I started the brand in 2020, September of 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. And this is one of those stories where you were just talking about, because I was listening to your initial bit, about how entrepreneurial journeys sometimes are very lonely. And what happened is, in the middle of COVID, I actually have a background in film. I went to film school. I was on my way to be a writer and a director. I had a great career going for me. I had been to the Oscars. I had made a commercial for the Oscars. And when COVID hit, the entire film industry in LA shut down, and I'm based in LA. And it shut down for 9 months. And I was honestly struggling a little bit. And what I wanted to always do was start a business. All the way in film school, I wanted to do that. But I never had the chance to do a double major in business and film. So I took, you know, sometime in those 9 months of the industry being shut down, I was like, you know what, this is my chance. This is a blessing in disguise. I really want to jump in because I have nothing to lose. And the gyms were closed and I would always take a walk around the block to stay active and healthy during COVID. And I have long hair, as you can see. And the one thing I always had on my wrist was a scrunchie. And I would always struggle because women's clothing and our leggings do not have pockets. And I would have to put my apartment key in my shoe or in my sports bra. And it was really uncomfortable.
I've done that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm running, I'm jogging, I'm walking. I don't want to carry around a bag with me, or I don't want to put it on the waistline of my legging and it's going to slip down. So I was like, what can I do? And I looked at my scrunchie and I was like, if there was a way to put a pocket in the scrunchie so I could hold it. So I didn't have really a lot of resources I didn't know where to start a business. I've done this all like just Googling and watching YouTube videos. So I had no idea where to start. So I actually went on to TikTok and YouTube and looked up places like, where can I get a product that I'm thinking about? And a lot of these places recommended me to AliExpress. And they were like, look on AliExpress, search on AliExpress if there's a product like it already in the market. And I did. I went on AliExpress and I looked for a scrunchie with a zipper. And actually there was one. There was one that was being produced. And I was like, oh, you know what? Let me order it. Let me see what there is already out there in the market. Let me do some market research on it. And I got it, and it was functioning, nothing wrong with the scrunchie, but I really didn't like how the fabric was really like rough and not really good. The zippers were super bulky and visible. So I got those as a start. I put a website together and I actually started selling those scrunchies just to see if there was a market interest out there with women. And a few months later, they were doing really well. They became successful. And I was like, you know what? I don't really like the quality. I want my brand to be more premium, better for hair, more healthy fabrics, better fabrics. So I found a manufacturer and I started designing everything from scratch. So I handpicked the fabrics, I handpicked the zippers. I actually, if you see, you can't see the zipper. It's super blended.
I know I have a friend that's a seamstress. It's a hidden zipper.
It's super hidden. You can't see it. Yeah, it's discreet. So I made all of those modifications. And, you know, I brought in like cottons, velvets, satins, super healthy for hair. So I just changed everything. And I also put like a thicker elastic inside so it would be able to hold up your hair like right there while it's full of items. So you can put stuff in it and it would still give you like 3 twists around your hair. So I really modified the product and made it better. And it was something that I was more proud of, having the Smunchys brand on it. And that's how I started. And then I can tell you more about the other products too, but ever since then I have like 4 other products.
Well, and I want to go back and I want to unpack some stuff because there's some things that you said that you were aware, but not totally possibly aware of the gem in the concept that you did. And I want our audience to be aware of it. Now, a lot of people, when they came to that conclusion that you need this product, that this product would be really good, they don't think to go and find another product and try selling theirs to see if there's a demand. They run out, they take their life savings, they mortgage the house, they make 10,000 scrunchies, get them shipped from China and say, all I got to do is have passion and it's going to work, right? I don't mean to be funny, but that's what people do. And I always say, companies are best started when you put your little toe in the water and you dip it one step at a time and you get confirmation. Then you dip and you get confirmation, and then you dip and you get confirmation. So Tracey, I applaud you on the way you went about it because you were able to confirm. Yeah, you were able to confirm there's a demand for it. I can sell it on a website. I've got people buying it. And in that, you learned, you know, how to get the shopping cart, how to get the delivery, all of these aspects of selling online. And then you said, I can make it better. And you know, if you look at so many products and the histories of companies, that's what happened. It wasn't the first person, it was the person who improved the initial idea and took it to market successfully. So I didn't want to drag that out, but that was so important. I wanted that to be said because it's a crucial component of intelligently starting a company. So I wanted to say that.
Thank you so much, Lori. I would love to build off of what you said really quickly.
Please do. No, keep going. I was going to say, were you conscious of this? Did you have thoughts about this?
You know, I was conscious of it because when you're limited, I learned that resources are really important in film school. And I'll just give you a personal story. So they gave us $1,000 in film school, and they were like, you only have $1,000 to make a short film. And when you have your back against a wall, you become creative. Instead of having like tens of thousands of dollars, you only have $1,000, and you have to be really conscious about the choices you make and where you spend your money. So when I started the business, I was kind of in the same boat. I only had like $600 to spend on a business for it to either be successful or fail. So I didn't want to jump in and, create thousands of products and go through prototypes and, contact a warehouse, a manufacturer in China, all for nothing. So I was very conscious. I was like, I first want to find a product that's similar to what I want to sell. I want to check the demand, see if it serves a need or solves a problem. And if it does one of those two things, that's great marketing right there. Go for products that like either serve a need or solve a problem.
Right.
And I did that, and it had a demand, and that's why I took it to the next level. I had that confirmation that it was working, and it was time to push it to the next level. Yeah.
I love what you added. A lot of times, and most of the time, entrepreneurs think that it's the lack of money or resources or capital that stops them from starting a company. Now, I've been a banker. I'm not to say that's not true sometimes, because you have to increase your inventory and everything. It's usually not starting, it's actually growing once you have a proven price point and a proven demand, right? And so they get too caught up in the fact that you have to like go from 0 to 100 miles per hour, going back to the Ferrari concept. And that's not really true, because it's not giving you time to improve on your innovation. And I always say, I was born in the country, saw small little country, companies, and they would sell here, and then they'd sell so much they opened up another one here, and then they said, we got to get back to the basics. I know I'm sounding old right now and being, we got to get back to the basics, right? We got to get back to, how do companies actually grow, and how do they grow stable, and how do they go strong? So I love the conversation we have. Okay, so take it from here. And I got one more thing I wanted to add. I love the improvements you did, because I obviously got long hair too, right? And so
Yeah.
when you get it scrunchie, you always have it where they're not tight enough or they're too loose. And so I was thinking, man, if I put anything heavy in, it's going to fall right out. But I love the elastic that you have in there and everything you showed. You really had to make it a technical scrunchie, because it had to have capabilities to carry weight. So I just wanted to add, from the understanding of a scrunchie and the importance of a scrunchie, that's pretty cool too. So you decide, I'm to improve this, and now you're starting to play the game. And this is where a lot of people in our audience love to hear about the overall, when you started sourcing and you tried to find the fabric and you tried to get a manufacturer, that in itself is a headache. And it can have so many mistakes. That's ridden with possibilities of going bad real quickly, especially when you have limited resources. I'm not going to say any more. You know what I'm talking about. Take it away.
Awesome. Yeah. So the next step after I knew there was demand and I wanted to actually manufacture it and make all of these modifications was finding a trustworthy manufacturer. And again, I went back to my college, which was YouTube and Google and Reddit posts. I started researching because I didn't go to film school, and everyone was like, go on Alibaba and find that there's a lot of great manufacturers on Alibaba, but there's a lot of also bad ones. So you have to be really careful when you're going through all of these people. So, and it's not easy. It is definitely a headache, Lori. It took me a few months. It took me a couple of months to go through Alibaba. And what I did was contact, you put in like scrunchies if you've been on Alibaba, and it gives you like a ton of like people, manufacturers in China who have like their minimums, their price points. And first I was just looking through the price points. That was my first criteria, because again, I didn't have a lot of money. So once I found a few people who were good on the price point, I started sending them messages. And I started testing how responsive they were. How fast does this person respond to me? How good are their responses? How easy is it to communicate with them? All these little things that I checked for, just to see how easy is it going to be for me to work with this manufacturer.
I'm going to stop you there. Sadie, get that in the chat. Those were beautiful, Tracey. How responsive. So many entrepreneurs are just like, oh, did they respond to me? Because they don't feel secure inside. But you actually had the most beautiful criteria. How quickly are they responding? What was the other two? Do you remember? I wanted Sadie to get those in the chat.
How responsive are they? I forgot.
I know, but I know that's why I was like trying to capture. It was also how they
how
responded.
easy is it to communicate with them? How good are their responses? Like, is it craft? Is it like one word responses, or is it like, do they spend their time? Like, do they treat you as a good customer? Do they like send you paragraphs or sentences of answers? Those all matter. And
Yes, perfect.
yeah,
That was it. Because see, when something goes wrong, how quickly they respond, how thorough they and detailed they respond, that is what's going to matter. That's why I thought what you said was just so on target. Thank you for capturing that, Sadie. Tracy, thank you for letting me rewind you for a second. Please keep going.
For sure. Stop me anytime you want. So I checked for those few things, and then there were like maybe 2 or 3 manufacturers that stood out. So the next step for me was to ask them to send me samples of their fabrics. And again, even in that process of asking them for fabrics, them sending you photos of what fabrics types they have, what colors they offer. Even there, I checked their response time. I was like, okay, how fast are they sending me these photos? How many types of variety do they have access to? If I want to do cottons, if I want to do polka dots, if I want to do satins or nylons or spandex, can they source all of these things for me? And once I had that, I asked them to just send me samples sorry, I'm going to go back a step. I sent them photos of the scrunchie that I wanted with the modifications that I wanted them to make, make the zipper the same color, make it blended. So, sew it together better. And then I asked them all to create a sample of the scrunchie and send me samples of their they have like these little cards with different fabric colors on them and different fabric material that you can touch and see. So a couple of these manufacturers send me their fabric cards and also their produced finalized scrunchies to me. And then I just looked at them. The ones that I liked, I went back to the negotiating table and I was like, hey, like these price points don't work for me. Can you like meet me in the middle, whatever? And then we settled on a price point. And next step was to place a small order with them. And I placed a small order. I think their small order is like 5,000 pieces.
I was
So
going
I placed
to
those 5,000 or 10,000 pieces, I think. And I felt comfortable enough at that point after my vetting process to place that large order. And
yep.
yeah, and they did. And
Tracy,
yeah.
give the audience some confidence in negotiating. Entrepreneurs are their worst negotiator. They don't negotiate a lot of times.
Oh my God.
What gave you the confidence and what did you learn in the process of negotiation? Please fill in some stuff on that.
It's hard. It's hard to believe in yourself at first because you think that, you're just a small fish and they have bigger clients and you just want to please them and meet them at their prices, but that's not true. And sometimes you have to fake it until you make it. And that was my mindset. And the thing that I've learned is that everything is negotiable. Everything in this world is negotiable.
I love that. I say that all the time. It's so true. Everything is negotiable.
Everything is negotiable.
Dying is not paying taxes is even negotiable. Okay. The only thing we just say die and pay taxes. I'm like, I've seen a lot at the IRS with clients. No, it's offering compromise. It's negotiable. Dying is the only thing on my list that I know so far to not be.
I know. And the worst thing that could happen, they're going to say no, and you just move on to the next person. And that's the one thing that I had to convince myself because I would be shy to ask them to bring down their prices. But when you just ask them, a lot of them just say yes. Or they say no, and you just move on to the next one. Like you don't lose anything. So that's the only thing when it comes to negotiations. It's okay to hear no. I
agree. And you know what? I love that you pointed out, I call it the scarcity mentality. When you have a belief that this is the only one that can fill this order, this is the only house, this is the only person. When you get in that scarcity, you tie yourself down and it never turns out good in my eyes. So I love that you were like, wait, there's plenty. I always think that there is such an abundance out there. If this one doesn't work, I'll wait for the next. That gives you confidence.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I think you're getting the rain again.
I did it. I know. I gotta stop doing that. I gotta get it. I do it all the time. I know. Why did Apple have to choose a gesture that I use in my life?
That is so funny.
I gotta go. gives you confidence rather than tuning in like I do. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, it's all good. But I wanted to go back really quickly to the whole scarcity mentality that you said. I completely
Yeah.
agree with that, but I would have to say that you got to pick your battles. Because
Yes.
there are some things where there's an abundance of, such as manufacturers. If one doesn't work with you, you can go to the next one. The next one, there's a lot of them. You can go to different countries. You can do it in the US. You're not out of manufacturers, but then there are some things that you have to be careful with. Like if you are a business who's working with certain retailers who are like monsters in their field, or if you want to get into certain like let's say Good Morning America. There's only one Good Morning America. There's only one QVC, for example. You can't negotiate too much over there. You should negotiate, you absolutely should. But after a certain point, they have very strict margins, for example, that they have to hit. And if you can't meet them, they're just going to move on. So you have to pick your battles correctly.
You're absolutely true, like Costco and stuff, and you get into those. And I always say, choose your battles accordingly, not appropriately, accordingly. And I say that because it's accordingly to the situation, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
sometimes, you have to serve a master until you can become the master. And I always know where my positioning is, what I'm willing to give up, and what I'm willing to not. It's like, know what is important and what's not. So thank you for adding that. Absolutely true. And make sure, so I don't forget when we get with the story, we got to go back to say, how did you get on Good Morning America? And
Sure.
and do you know Oprah? I'm going to ask you that. But keep
No, I
going with
don't. I don't know Oprah, but it's my goal to get on her favorite. Is it like Oprah's favorite list or Oprah's favorites? Like right before
yeah.
the holiday, she releases that list. My God, I would love to get on that list. Yeah.
Okay, well then tell her I'm a great show host and tell her to hook
I
me up.
would. I will absolutely tell her. Awesome.
Okay, so now you've got the samples, you had to do a minimum order. Let's go back into the technical aspect. You're selling this on a website, which is always, it's not tricky to put it up and put up the shopping cart. It's tricky to get people to know about it. So can you tell us a little bit about what you did for marketing to get people to come to your site to buy, et cetera, which probably then will feed into Good Morning America as well, now that I think about that.
Yeah, God, marketing is the most difficult part of every business, and advertising is a part of marketing. It's not necessarily marketing and advertising are two different things, and a lot of people confuse them
Yes.
together. And I would have to say that, okay, so let me take you back. 2020, I started the business and I put the website together. And the one thing I knew was that there was no awareness about my brand. People didn't know about Smunchys. They didn't even know that the product existed. It's not like they could go on Google and search for a scrunchie with a pocket and then Smunchys would pop up. They didn't even know that was a thing. So you have to educate people. And the one way to reach a wide customer base or audience base was running ads on Facebook and Instagram. And so what I did is also go back to YouTube again and Reddit and Google. And I was like, how do you run Facebook ads? And I studied Facebook ads for a few weeks. How do you put up a campaign? How do you record videos? And the one thing that my film school background really helped me shoot some videos of the scrunchies and like showing, the zipper opening, putting all these items inside, closing it up, wearing it. And I really am thankful that I have that film background because I was able to put those films together, but it wasn't too specific. It wasn't too crazy. Like I just did it with an iPhone camera. So like anybody could do it. You don't need a film degree to be able to do that. So I studied Facebook market advertising, and then I went onto Facebook and I put like very low, like $5, $10 campaigns per day. And that started actually bringing in sales. And I already had that baseline. And when I went the manufacturer route and I actually imported all of my products out in 2021, I already had that base. So nothing changed on the front end of my marketing. Everything stayed the same on Facebook and Instagram. It's just the back end, the products changed and they completely look different on the website. But Facebook and Instagram ads took a major hit in 2021 after the iOS changes. I'm sure you're aware of that when Apple started the blocking. Yeah. And you couldn't track your audience too well. So it became really difficult to advertise after 2021. So I had these like roller coasters of periods where like I was doing really well and then I wasn't doing well, and I was doing really well and I wasn't doing well. I had to pull my ads, test new things. So it's been a little bit of a struggle since 2021. I definitely have good quarters and bad quarters, but that's how mostly I brought awareness to the brand, through advertising. Yeah.
Yep. And do you find that you get a lot of repeat customers that buy one color and then they come back and buy another color? Do you know how much of it is repeat customers out of curiosity?
Yeah, I have like a good amount of repeat customers. And the key to getting repeat customers, I would say, is either get them to follow you on social media and keep on posting like organic social media content like Instagram Reels, TikTok videos, Facebook photos, and they see your brand and you come back up to, their memory gets refreshed and they remember, they go back and purchase. Or, have a subscription where they subscribe via text or email and then go back and do email campaigns, marketing. And I've been doing that more recently. And that's one of the things that I've learned. I wasn't doing a lot of email campaigns. So now I just got into it. And every time I send out an email, a few people click on it. I get a few purchases, and these are all repeat orders, which is really nice. Yeah.
That's wonderful because you don't hear people talk about email campaigns as much anymore. And when I had my on-site I don't even know how to say not webinar, on-site seminars,
Yeah.
I promoted them all through email campaigns and email marketing. So that's
Oh,
fascinating. Okay, lay it on us. Good morning, America. Tell us the story. Okay, I got to get that in. Well, tell us about it.
Good Morning America was so fun. So it was the first major like media channel that took Smunchys and brought like maybe millions of eyeballs on it. Like at least like a few 100,000 people like started knowing about Smunchies. And the way it happened is that, okay, I'm gonna give you the story, and there's a good learning.
I want the story. Yeah, tell us the
Okay.
story. I need to hear it.
I had a couple of contacts. I had met a couple of women who had reached out to me on Instagram. Super great, super helpful. I got on a phone call with them, but they basically came to me and they were like, "Hey, we are like the middlemen or middle women, and we can introduce you to Good Morning America and walk you through the process and also the Today Show, but we charge a 3% finder's fee." And as a small business, you don't want to give away any percentages. And that's why I don't like bringing on investors really early on. You just want to keep as much of it to yourself as possible.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? That's a little too generous. I don't feel comfortable with that. But if there's a way for them to come to me, there's a way for me to find a contact to Good Morning America.
Oh, I love the way this woman thinks. This is friggin' awesome. I hope everybody in the audience is enjoying this. I love that. Instead of everybody else would be like, okay, here's 3%. Not Tracey. Wait a minute. If they can do it, I can do it for myself. Oh,
I can do it for myself. I know.
Keep talking.
Oh God. So what I did, I was like, okay, start thinking. So I started an Excel sheet. I was like, I'm gonna go on LinkedIn and I'm gonna type in Good Morning America, and I'm gonna find every single person who works in Good Morning America. And it was specifically the deals and steals segment that Tori Johnson does on Good Morning America. That is their shopping channel. And I was like, I'm going to put in Good Morning America deals and steals, Good Morning America, Tori Johnson, all these different combination of words on LinkedIn that could give you people's profiles who work there. And I found like maybe a list of like 10 or 15 people who work in that department. And then I went out to Google. I was like, how can I reverse search people's emails? And there are apps and there's softwares out there that you put in, like you pay a monthly fee and you put in their name and company, and it like reverses and it gives you their email address. So I literally did that, and I got like 10 emails. And then I crafted emails. I was like, hey, I'm Tracey. I have this like technical scrunchie. It brings safety, practicality to women. And then I attached photos and I sent it off to these 15 people. And literally the next morning I woke up and the head of partnerships from Good Morning America reached back and she was like, I love the product. Can you send me samples? And I was like, holy crap.
You must have been like, what was it like in that? Take us in that emotion for a second. Let us all just melt in that emotion when you read that email.
I woke up literally in my bed, like with my eyes like half closed, and I just looked at my phone. I'm like, huh? Good Morning America. Like, I jumped out of my bed. I was like, oh my God, is this real? And it was crazy, Lori. It was so good. And, you know, you're trying to play it cool. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you for reaching out. Like, I would love to join the show. Like, I'm screaming inside, but she didn't need to know that. So
And I
that's how
love
that happened.
that you did it on your own. I mean, oh my God. See, I knew there was a story in here and I had this feeling. And it's so funny because at the beginning, I started saying I'm starting a series with the power of questions. And I'm planning on talking about how you do research, you take it upon yourself, you think things through, and you're just explaining this beautiful example. So what was it like? What happened on Good Morning America and what happened afterwards?
Sure. So the first step was for them to get the samples to test if it's actually functioning in person. So I sent them all different types of like my best sellers that I already knew were doing well on the website. Like there were like 6 or so colors. And they tested it and they got back to me and they're like, oh, we love the products. We would love to feature you. And do you have the capacity to be featured? And apparently, I think I don't know if they've changed it now, but I think they need a minimum of like 10,000 products for you to commit to the show. Uh,
Okay.
yeah. And a few years ago, I think it was like a retail, like $100,000 or $200,000 in retail, but that changed. They just did like 10,000 units that you need to
Okay.
have on hand to ship out to customers. And it's a flash sale. So they ask you to offer a 50% discount. And on top of that, they take a 25% cut, like a commission from you. And
Wow.
they were like, "Are you okay with all of these things?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely, that works." And
Good
then
morning, America. Choose your battles, like you said.
choose your
Yeah.
battles. There's no negotiation room. Their contracts are
Right.
pretty sad. They're like, "There's no wiggle room." I'm like, fine, I'll sign. I had my lawyer actually review it, Lori. I did not put my name
Yeah,
on that contract, and that's another lesson. Never sign anything
very
without
smart.
having somebody review it.
I
E-
agree with you,
yeah, even if it was Good Morning America, I'm like, I still need to have this.
especially with Good Morning America, because
Yeah.
they got savvy lawyers.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I cannot go against, like, I need to know my
Yeah.
rights. I need to have this
Yeah.
looked at, even just to not violate it. You know, if they want the payment on the 15th and you don't make it on the 16th or 17th, you know, just to know those
Exactly.
timelines. Yeah. So, what they did is that they were like, do you have the capacity to make the shipments? And I had to actually, it was really fun because they get a lot of sales and they anticipate a lot of sales. So they tell you, you need to ship out all of these orders within 24 to 36 hours after the sale happens. And you need to either have a warehouse or have, you know, people around you to help you ship it. It's not one person's job. So what I did, I went to my, you know, I live at home. And I went to my parents. I'm like, can I turn the living room into a fulfillment center? And they were really excited. They're like, yeah, of course. So I literally moved all the furniture out, put the table in, I put buckets on it, brought in 2 more tables. It was so fun. I had like all the 6 different SKUs that I was offering. I had like my packaging, my label maker, my printer, all like laid out. And the morning the orders started coming in, it was me, my mom, my dad, all just packing, like, you know, 8 hours a day, just packing for 3 days. It was really fun. Yeah, I got a lot of orders. I got a lot of attention, which was I'm just really grateful for it. Yeah.
Well, and it now is, saying that you were on Good Morning America, it creates validity to your product and your capabilities immediately. So yeah, I look at it in that case, the amount you gave up in the discount is really marketing dollars invested in the future, very smart marketing dollars. So I don't see that as a discount because it was a one time. It's not like you have to
Yeah.
sell that forever for that amount. So it
Yeah.
was a one time and it was that's awesome. Okay, I want to make sure we got time for this. You now have ventured into other products.
Yes. Yes, I
We
have.
got to talk about the other products. So tell us about the other products now.
I would love to tell you. I'm so passionate about it. By the way, I saw a comment in the chat. I just want to make sure from a few people, whenever you want to address them in Virginia, I want to say thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying this. I would love to be on Oprah's favorite things one day. So I just
I
wanted to
know,
address
guys
it.
in the audience, isn't this the most fun story? And while we're doing it, RJ had a question. Did you patent your product?
Let me
Well,
see.
yeah, why don't we
That's
go?
a great question.
Yeah,
They're all
I was
actually
going to bring
patent
that
pending.
up. Let's jump that one. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all patent pending currently on utility patents and design patents. And this is what one of the products that and the patent process is long. It takes long, but you got to get in your application really fast to just secure that spot. And then, you know, it can take however long it wants. But this was my second product, Lori. So as you can see, it's an Apple Watch and
Okay.
it's scrunchie band. It's very similar to a scrunchie. It goes around your hand and it comes with that zipper pocket in it. And I don't know if my odd like thing is
Yep,
blurry.
yep, I can see it, yep.
Okay. And inside of it, it actually has this adjuster, which I really love. This was something I worked on for 9 months. It took me 9 months. So inside of it, it has this adjuster.
Oh,
It's
nice. So
like a
you can
bra
get,
strap adjuster.
yeah,
Yeah, so it
yeah.
can fit anywhere from like a child size wrist, like it goes all the way small to like an adult size wrist, and you can put anything you want in it. And this one was my second product, and I went through like God, like maybe 10 prototypes for this to work out
Wow,
with
that's
the same
cool.
manufacturer. Yeah. So that was my second product. And then recently I did this headband. So it's an athletic headband. And
Okay.
it's nylon and spandex. It's moisture wicking. So it really stays on and grips to your head if you're like doing intense workouts. And the pocket in this goes from ear to ear in the back of your head when you wear it. And it's super sizable. So, I mean, super spacious. So
Wow.
I'm, if you want like to put in like cards, definitely fits in the card.
Wow,
Which like
yeah.
the scrunchies don't do. And look at
Yep.
a whole like box of like the AirPods. They just go right in.
Oh, wow,
And you
cool.
can put in like a lot of other stuff in there too. And you just zip it up and you wear it. And I also have this jumbo scrunchie now. So jumbo scrunchies are super in. You can see the size difference. This is
Yes.
it's huge. And this one literally, I was testing it out. It's massive. The pocket in this is massive. Let me show you the lighter color. Here, I have a blush tone that's like super popular. And it fits in everything that my little purse fits in it. It's huge, the pocket.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That
this
is
is my
cool.
and this is the last product. It's a hard headband. And it has the pocket on this side and right there. Sorry, I should have
Oh,
probably showed the
oh,
light
I
color.
can see.
You see
Yep,
it?
nope,
Yeah.
I can see, cool.
Yeah, it's right there, and you can put in like money, keys, jewelry, chapstick in there, anything you really want. But yeah, those are all my
Tracey,
products
I
right now.
gotta laugh. Christine says if you have a headache, you could put an ice pack in that.
Oh my God, that's so right. That's so funny. I should make a video on that.
I know, I had to read that. That's hilarious.
Oh,
Christine's
that's
one of our
funny.
frequent flyers. I don't think she ever misses one of our shows. That is hilarious.
Thank you. That's a good tip.
So in that, so it sounds like your original due diligence with that manufacturer's paid off because you still are using that same manufacturer.
Yeah, God, they are a key partner to me. I love working with them. And it hasn't always been super smooth. Obviously, they're humans too. There has been times where, there were mistakes made and like the
Right,
scrunchie
right.
was a little looser or the inside elastic was like different. And, I have addressed all of those issues over the years and they have perfected their work. And now they produce like great product over great product every single time that I place an order with them. And yeah, they are the person to go to for me at least. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I love about your story too is I hear this all the time. Well, I don't have a background. I don't know anybody at Good America. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how about that. I love how you just went through a reasonable thought process every single time. How do I find out, to get an email address at Good Morning America? How do I go on? Let me watch a YouTube. But at the same time, when you're watching the YouTube and the TikTok, you always have discernment. You're looking at and not accepting everything as true. You're going through a criteria of observing and investigating and making sure you see how they respond. You checking in this. It's really a success model that you have within your brain and your being that you are just continuously applying. I don't know if you've been aware of it, but you do. You just think, first of all, you think I can do it. Then you could jump into how I can do it. Then you go through a logic, and then you're very much into observing and identifying what are the important criteria for each of these decisions. And like I said, you probably are doing it without even being aware of it, but I pick up on it. And so there is a skeleton to your behaviors that you have followed in every one of these situations that the audience can learn from. It's really amazing.
That's so interesting. You know what? Now that you're saying it, I can see that. I don't really think about it consciously every day, but that's the sort of, I'm a very skeptical person when it comes to all of these things that
Me
I
too.
research. Yeah, I don't, because especially with the rise of TikTok, there are a lot of people who claim to know a lot and they don't. And they can
Oh,
guide you and they
oh
can
my God. Thank
you.
you for saying that. I'm going to bring that up next week. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my God. You know, it's not just TikTok. In our world today, there are a lot of people that claim to be experts that are not, that are giving advice, and they sound so convincing. We really have to be our own judge. We have to have faith in ourselves and be intelligent. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And you know, I found that to be really true because a lot of these people just want to make a quick buck and they want to sell you like online courses. They'll take my course and you're going to learn more. And it's all BS. Sorry for the language.
Oh, no, there's nothing.
It-
It's so true. No, it goes
it-
back to that old thing with the real estate person that teaches you how to buy real estate, but they don't have
yeah,
real estate. They're just making money on the courses to teach you how to buy
exactly.
real estate.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, you have to trust your gut. I listen to my gut a lot. I think there's an instinct in there in us as humans, you know, going through life that you learn what's right and what's wrong. And I also, you know, you got to have common sense. It's common sense and gut feeling, you know, you got to rely on that no matter what anyone tells you out there. And, you know, I think if you have those two, you're going to be successful.
You know, I always say the gut's fairly good, but the more data you can give it, the better it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, exactly. And common sense. Oh, Sadie, would you put in all caps common sense in the chat for me, please? That is my pet peeve. I'm like, what happened to common sense in the world? It'll really help us to succeed. Common sense
Yeah.
means so much. So where are you planning on going with this next? What are your goals and inspirations for the company?
Absolutely. So, up next, I would love to explore some more channels like that, like selling channels. QVC is a big goal for me. I would love to get the brand onto QVC, and
Which
I
I know you will.
I hope it gets on there. There's Good Morning America happened twice. We aired on there twice, so which both times were really successful. So I would love to go back to Good Morning America, and QVC is the next one. But you know, I'm also trying to. I've always done direct to consumer. That has been my bread and butter. It has been the you know, what I've always done, and I really want to increase the wholesale side of the business going into the next couple of years. And, you know, I want to get into boutiques, specialty shops, like small to mid-tier stores. I'm not super ready for the big players like the Walmarts and the Targets. I actually did go on, I was invited to Bentonville, Arkansas, to the headquarters of Walmart, and I had a line review meeting last summer with them. And they eventually decided not to go forward with the brand because they were looking to cut down on their hair accessories, not add any new brands. And I was really sad and I cried in that moment. But you know what? It was a blessing in disguise again. And I'm so happy it didn't work because I think a lot of people don't understand the amount of difficulty that, you know, you have to endure to work with
Oh,
big
thank you
brands
for
like that.
saying that too. I always tell people say the best day they got in Costco or Walmart. And I said, you know what? That could be your worst day because
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of companies go under because the deals were not profitable for them and they just went for them.
Yeah, yeah. They cut the margin so low, and
Yep.
if you don't have a lot of money being pumped into your business, you can go under. You can be bankrupt. So I'm just happy I didn't go forward with it. And you know, I'm not saying that in the future I don't want to, but right now the size of the business is not something to work with the Walmarts and the Targets. But I am super open to getting into boutiques and specialty shops. And I want to explore, I don't know if you've ever heard about Magic Las Vegas. It's like an
No.
exhibition of all small and medium-sized brands, and they have buyers from all over the country, from like Free People and Urban Outfitters and ASOS, and even this like hotels, resorts, casinos. All of those buyers are there looking for new brands, and that's something I want to explore over the next couple of years and see if I can expand my wholesale side of the business more.
Well, and it does seem to me that your product is best kept at a higher scale than the one you would just walk into a Walmart and buy because there's an additional cost to producing it. So if you start get into a price point that you're competing with a product that's not similar, it's going to hurt you financially. Which
Exactly.
I thought about it. I only have a little bit, but I should have brought up this earlier, but I wanted to. So many people get into wholesale and they realize they did not price their selling price high enough to allow for the discounts like you experienced, or going into a wholesale situation. And I seen many people where they get involved in these opportunities, but it would create such a lower price point with the wholesale that they can't afford to even take advantage of it. And it's because at the beginning they didn't price it correctly. So what did you think about when you determined the price of your product? You obviously considered these opportunities down the road. Something taught you, or you knew to do that. Can you talk to that a little bit in some of the time we have left?
Yeah, absolutely. And how much time do we have left? Do we have
Oh,
5
we
minutes?
can go over a little bit. This isn't like I gotta, so we get to go a little bit. So don't worry about it. You take your time and give us the information, because you're a gem of information. We want
Thank
to
you.
hear.
Thanks. I want to say thank you to all the other people who are commenting. Robert, Miss Brianne, and everybody is just so supportive in this. Bernice, everybody is
I
so
know the
supportive.
chat is fun. Like I said, the chat is where the party goes, and I love
Yeah,
it because I kind of glance at it, and I really see it resonates with the audience. And that's what's so
it
cool about
does.
this talk show, is the audience is really engaged in it.
Yeah, I love
And that's
that.
so
I
cool.
love
Yeah.
that. But when it comes to pricing the products, when it's direct to consumer, it's a lot easier to know your costs. You usually, if it's on like Amazon or Etsy or Walmart.com, if it's on any of these online, or even Shopify, they have certain fees that they charge you. And those fees are pre-calculated. You can put there's certain percentages. And then you have your shipping to your customer, and you have your freight from like China to here when you're producing it. And you have the actual cost of the product. So these are very easy numbers to put into like Excel and calculate. But the one variable always is your marketing cost and your advertising costs. When you're especially like selling D2C and you're doing ads on Facebook and Instagram, they can always fluctuate. And some periods you're more profitable, some periods you're breaking even or like burning cash, which has all happened to me. But when you're doing wholesale, like when I did the whole calculation for Walmart, I was actually working with two advisors. I was paired up with them for a few months, actually. I found them, they had like 30 years of experience working at Walmart. They were buyers, so they knew the ins and outs, and they really helped me craft my pitch, my packaging. I have like shelf packaging that is like really pretty, and we went through a lot of iterations for that. And then they had like the whole Excel sheet of like what costs to expect. And Walmart has a lot of hidden fees. It's not
Yeah.
just the discounts. If products get returned to you, they can go on clearance. And there's like a few more that I can't remember right now, but there's a lot of hidden fees that could be harmful to you.
Yeah, and I also know, like in Urban Outfitters, they have also, you have to have their special stickers on, you have to have their special packaging, and that adds to it within certain companies. So
Mm.
you don't even think about that they may have, because they have their own code system, barcode system, and so you got to use their stickers, and you got to pay for those stickers to have them put on. So all of a sudden you're paying for more packaging, so to speak.
That's true.
Yeah, that actually, I bet you sit back now and are amazed at everything, because everything you just talked about, this happens and then this, you didn't know that when you first went on Alibaba trying to figure out what it was that you could do to make a scrunchie or buy a scrunchie. At the time it was scrunchie, right? And so you must be amazed at your knowledge and wisdom that you have gained over this process.
Oh, it's a passion, Lori. I love the brand. I love the products. I love the technical aspect, and I love the difference it makes in women's lives. I know it sounds really cheesy, and probably every founder says that, but it really does make a difference. I have moms who put Apple AirTags inside of their scrunchies, and they tie it around their daughter's hair just to be able to track them, because we don't live in a safe world. And
Right.
there's solo female travelers who go to Europe, and they put in their cash and keys and such to not get pickpocketed. And there's a lot of safety elements that it brings. And it's really incredible to read those reviews or emails or comments and see the difference it creates. So that's what drives me. Yeah.
It's so true because the current ways to stuff your cash, you either have to wear that clothes or you have things that go on your body that are uncomfortable to wear. And so I love this combination idea that you have. That is awesome. Now, what about the men in the world? Do you have anything on that you're thinking about the men for the future?
Yeah, my fiance actually has long hair and he actually uses the scrunchie sometimes.
I was going to
Yeah.
say that because I know men wear the scrunchies too. I figured
Yeah.
that probably happened as well.
Yeah, yeah, and the Apple Watch bands too, but I know they're more geared towards women, and that's the thing with like smaller, newer businesses. I think it's important to, as much as I love to have, products for everybody, it's important to first find your niche and
Yeah.
do really well in your niche and then expand out so that you don't go under.
Well,
And
absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with maintaining a unique audience because in actuality, you are in a way also communicating with the men who want a gift to buy the women. Because
absolutely,
it's a pretty
yeah,
unique gift and you can pick it up and it's so unique. So in a way, your men are customers as well as a
yeah,
gift to the women. So
yeah.
I mean, this just been amazing. I'm so glad. I knew there was a story. Knew there was a story, but this has been beyond belief. So I
Oh,
want to
thank
thank you
you.
so much for coming on the show. Any last words you'd like to leave with the audience?
Um, Yes, there is something I've recently experienced. I would like to say, as much as business is great, and as an entrepreneur, you're working like not 9 to 5, but 24/7. You're working. Mental health is important. Please,
Oh yeah.
take your rest, get your sleep in on the weekends if you have to, and rest your mind because if you overwork yourself, you're gonna get drained, you're going to wear out and you're not going to be as creative and you're not going to do well in your business. And recently I took like a 2-day trip and I shut down all of my social media. I even like logged off of like Shopify not to see my sales coming in. I needed 2 days to myself. And it gave me so much clarity. I came back with marketing ideas. I came back with campaign ideas. And I think it's really important to prioritize that. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. Well, I'm already telling you, I'm going to bug you in a couple months. I'm going to ask you to come back on the show because there's just so much more we can learn. And I got a feeling in a couple months, who knows where you're going to be from there. But what an incredible story. And it was just so packed with words of wisdom. I loved every minute of it. So Sadie, I'm going to bring you back in here. Oh, and Sadie, I want to make sure did we get all the information about how to get in touch with Tracey, how to buy from Tracey, how to get to her website? Is that all in chat? And can we repeat it in chat so we make sure everybody knows how to buy one of your products?
Thank you.
I just re-put it right there in the chat window. I mean, I'm going to throw in there that, I've actually heard of your product. Now that I'm like listening to it, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, when I was looking for hair accessories, I definitely did see your product on the marketplace.
Oh my God, Sadie, I'm so happy to hear that. That's so great.
That
Yeah.
is so cool. Yeah, and Chris says I'm going to pass this on. I'm a makeup artist and work with many hairstylists. Oh, thank you,
Thank you,
Chris.
Chris.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
That came to
much.
host and panelist. It didn't get to everybody. So I wanted to say thank you, Chris Evans, for saying that. That is just beautiful. So, Sadie, wasn't this another incredible show?
And when is it not? I mean, it's one of those things where I was like, this is the best environment because it really is about listening to entrepreneurs' stories. And it's one of those things of like everyone's special, right? Just as an individual. But when we get into the entrepreneur story, I'm like, those are amazing.
Oh, I know. Everybody's got a story and I love hearing it. So Tracey, thank you for sharing. Thank you for your honesty and just being so real and telling. I feel like I actually traveled through your years with you and experienced it. And that was just so exciting, intriguing, and educational. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much, Lori, for all the great questions. I really enjoyed speaking with you. And thank you, Sadie. And thank you to all the audiences and the great comments. And I wish I could copy paste this chat. I don't know if there's an option to do that and go over it later again.
Sadie,
But
you'll get it to Tracey so she has a
okay.
copy of it and she has everybody. Yep, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
it's just the people are so beautiful what they write in the chat all the time.
Yeah, they really
So
are.
with that, guys, I want to thank you, Tracey. Thank you to our frequent flyers that are here every week. Love you. Thank you to anybody who just joined. So I hope to see you next week as well. Sadie, thank you for being my partner in crime. And I'm going to say I will see everybody next week on Small Biz Talk with your host, Lori Williams. Till next week, I'll see you then. And Tracey, I'm going to be in contact with you in upcoming months, and I'm going to be asking you to come back on the show because we got to take up
Amazing.
right where we left off. Okay.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much. It was nice talking to you again. Can't wait for the next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.